Hey there, it's Jon Fleischman with the So Does It Matter Substack. I also publish FlashReport.org website. And today I wanted to talk to you about the latest goings on having to do with Title IX and women in women's sports and men in women's sports. Yeah, you cannot make this stuff up, but as you know, here in California, there's been quite a bit of controversy because it's a law passed in California that allows men to participate in women's sports by saying that women's sports is not defined by your biology, but rather by your chosen gender. So rather than using the objective, we're using the subjective. And it's created quite a bit of controversy, as well it should. And it's really created a tragic situation for women who are trying to compete in their sporting events, and they're finding that men are participating alongside them and winning, which is not complicated because, of course, there's major significant physiological differences between biological men and biological women, which make biological men far superior athletes. And so, having them compete against women is completely and totally unfair. And of course, they're winning these awards. They're winning these competitions. It's bad news. Anyways, the Department of Education for the United States of America a couple of weeks ago sent notice to the California Department of Education that their Civil Rights Division had completed an investigation and that they had found that the state of California was in violation of Title IX. As you'll recall, Title IX is that kind of historic framework that says that women shall have equal rights to play in sports. I don't think at all when Title IX was passed back in the day that the phrase women or the word women would become subjective and not objective, but that's exactly what's going on here. So here's a finding that came out from the Department of Education back on June 25th. They said the California Department of Education and the California Interscholastic Federation are in clear violation of Title IX. California has actively prevented equal opportunities for girls by allowing males in girls' sports and intimate spaces. This causes unfair competition, unsafe situations, and indignities. They went on to order California to ban biological males from female sports, adopt biology-based sex definitions, rescind transgender inclusive rules, and restore titles to female athletes. Federal Education Secretary Linda McMahon said on that day, although Governor Gavin Newsom admitted it was deeply unfair to allow men in women's sports, California continued to allow men to steal female athletes' accolades. So this was the throwdown from the federal government, and it's taken a couple weeks, but now earlier this week, there's been a response from the state of California. Specifically, the California Department of Education said that they received the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights letter finding and proposed resolution agreement in the above referenced matter, and the California Department of Education respectfully disagrees with OCR's analysis, and it will not sign the proposed resolution agreement. And then, almost following suit, the California Interscholastic Federation, CIF, responded again yesterday. The Office of General Counsel for CIF is in receipt of your letter dated June 25th, and I write in response to your request that CIF inform you in writing by noon yesterday as to whether CIF will sign the United States Department of Education Office for Civil Rights proposed resolution agreement in the above titled matter. The CIF concurs with the response of the California Department of Education and will not sign the proposed agreement. So that was a lot to say, which was really to say that once again, we're going to end up back in federal court with the Trump administration and the Newsom administration battling it out. And of course, the victims are these young girls trying to play sports, while the very, very extreme progressives in Sacramento continue to kind of float the idea that being a woman is not about biology. It's about subjective desire and what you want to be. Well, this is where the rubber hits the road, as it were, because this situation is going to come to a head. Right now, the federal government has said that if the state doesn't come into compliance, they're going to withhold more than $100 million of funding for the education department in California that, of course, goes down to the school districts. And this would just make the tragedy even worse. But that's where we are. And so you have to ask yourself, what's going on? Why are we in the middle of all this? And you inescapably end up in two places. One is with the hardcore progressive left in Sacramento, who literally, I think their desire is actually to shut down competitive women's sports, because for them, they're on an ideological battle to prove that what gender you are, what sex you are, is all what you want it to be. There is no objective. There is no right or wrong reality. It's just literally, I've always decided that I want to be a boy if I'm a girl. I'm always decided I want to be a girl if I'm a boy. And, Katie bar the doors, go do what you want. And, all of us know that there's some extremely small percentage of people that have legitimate biological chromosome issues where it's not entirely clear where they are. Well, that's not what we're talking about here today. We're talking about a full-blown change in the way that they see the world and the way they see the family and the way that they see how people are sorted. And are they sorted by gender or are they sorted by sex? Obviously, for these women in women's sports that can't compete fairly, it's pretty straightforward. Anyways, the other factor that we're dealing with is Gavin Newsom. He's busy getting ready to run for president. He's off to South Carolina. He's busy, posturing and battling with Trump. So first and foremost, he's already figured out that going head to head with Donald Trump on anything improves his numbers here in very blue California. And of course, between him and the Democratic nomination for the presidency in 2028 is a group of thousands of extraordinarily left-wing, really, really liberal delegates to the national convention for the Democrat Party. And he's got to win them over. And this is an important issue to them. So I guess stay tuned. But I can only tell you, if you're from outside of California watching this, you must be nodding your head. And if you're inside of California, you just have to feel really, really sorry for these poor girls who have practiced and competed for years and years and years to ultimately get to this pinnacle, the CIF competitions, the CIF championships, and to be crushed by not being able to be named the winner because a biological man beats you, or they've come up with some bizarre system where somehow you're supposed to share your award with the biological man who beat you. The whole thing is crazy. The whole thing is nuts. The whole thing is anti-woman, and it's absolutely horrible. Anyways, we'll see how it all goes down, but that's the latest. I would encourage you, if you're watching this on YouTube, to hit like, subscribe. If you're watching this on Substack, like it, share it. And I appreciate your support, and we'll continue to talk about current events like this, current political issues like this. And trust me, coming from California, there is no shortage of things to talk about because I am telling you, it's a strange place sometimes, but it's a beautiful place and it's worth saving. And we're going to do that. We're going to stay right here and fight the fight. Thank you very much.